Welcome everyone. Previously we were discussing about issue of shares at a discount. Even though the concept is there, and in actual practice the companies are not issuing the shares at discount as per the new regulations of the Companies Act. And we were discussing about the treatment of fractional shares. I hope you all know what is meant by fractional shares, how the fractional shares occur in a business situation, and who is going to buy it, and tax treatment with regard to that. So let us discuss briefly about the situations in which the fractional shares occurs. We have discussed that. Still, just to point out the important theoretical aspects with regard to that. These are the points we discussed previously. Apart from issue of shares at discount, we have also discussed about the allotment of shares, how it is done, who it is done, and what are the entries that has to be passed in case of default. There will be chances of default. Some subscribers or shareholders fail to pay the call money or any allotment money likewise. So such situation is known as call scenarios. We have discussed that. Okay. And we discussed about fractional shares. Okay. So what are the situation in which fraction of shares occur? So we know that fraction of share is a unit of stock that is less than one full share. In simple words, less than one full share is known as fraction of share. It be 1 by 2 or 3 by 4 likewise. So what are the situations? We have discussed about two situations. Let us discuss some of the situations in which fraction of shares occur. So these are the common situations in which a fraction of shares occurs in a business. Stock split, bonus issue. We discussed about stock split and bonus issue previously. Other three items are reverse stock split at the time of merger and at the time of investment in mutual funds. These are the situations in which a fraction of shares occur. First one is stock split. A stock split is a corporate action in which a company divides its existing shares into multiple shares to boost the liquidity of the shares. I have mentioned the example case of a stock split. If you remember, then you might have got the idea about the concept of stock split. We'll explain once more. If I own a company, I want to raise capital, I had issue shares. It will be like this. For raising 1 lakh rupees of capital, I might have issued 1000 shares of rupees 100 each. For raising 1 lakh rupees of capital, I might have issued a share of value of 100, and 1000 number of such shares were issued. So total 1000 into 100, 1 lakh. So sometimes the business is not in a good position, so it plans to increase the liquidity of the concern by reducing the number of shares. Reducing the number of shares means value of the share means increasing the number of items or consolidating the number of items. I have mentioned that 1000 shares of rupees 100 each. The value of the capital or the final amount will be the same, but certain adjustment may be made in the number of items. If I want to increase the liquidity of the concern, I can split the 1000 shares into 10,000 shares. So if it is 10,000 shares, what is the value of the share? It will be rupees 10, because total 1 lakh will be there. The company intended to split the shares. Usually that is done during at the time of requirement of liquidity, or when the company plans to raise the liquidity of the concerns, like that. Here the total value of the share capital remains the same. Even after all these activities, capital amount will not change. The only thing change is the number of shares outstanding increases by a specific multiple. So because I have mentioned that 10,000 is split into 1000. Sorry, 1000 is split into 10,000. So 1000 is split into 10,000 means the value also changed. Earlier it was 100 rupees. Now it is 10. First 10,000 into 10, you will get 1 lakh also. So the concept is you are splitting the number of shares. Earlier it was 10,000, you have split it to 1000. So that is known as stock split. Stock means a group of shares. 10,000 is a group. 10,000 is a group of shares. 1,000 is a group of shares. So 1,000 was the first stock of shares. 1,000 into 100. I have splitted the 1,000 into 10,000 items. So 1,000 is split into 10,000. So a stock split is a corporate action in which the company divides its existing shares. So I was planning to issue 1,000 shares rupees 100 each, but in order to increase or raise the liquidity of the concern, I divided the existing shares 1,000 shares into 10,000 shares. So dividing, splitting. See, at the term itself we can say splitting. Splitting what? Stock means a group of shares. Existing shares into multiple shares to boost the liquidity of the shares. In order to increase the liquidity of the shares, the company follow these aspects. And we all know that no one will buy, or one cannot buy a half a share in the stock market, because it is always offered in the market at a whole value. It is not issued like 13.5 or 13.1/3/4, 13.1/4. It is issued in the market like that. It is issued like 13 shares or 14 shares. A rounded value will be offered to the market. So most companies tend to round up it to the nearest whole number of a shares when fraction shares occur. We have discussed that. So that is the situation in case of a stock split. Next one, bonus issue. Bonus issue also was discussed in one of the previous classes, but yet again let us discuss the concept of bonus issue. Bonus issue is the issue of fully paid shares by a company to its existing shareholders. He may be, that means that existing shareholders may be employees, directors, whoever that is working for the business. So how is this? These shares are issued. These shares are issued free of charge by capitalizing a part of the company's retained earnings. Retained earnings means a portion of the profit will be kept in the business. Usually we have learned that profit earned is distributed to the shareholders in the form of dividend. Instead of issuing this profit as dividend, a portion of the profit will be left in the business for meeting any developmental purposes or anything that is required for the company in some date in future. So in order to meet some future requirements, a portion of capital is kept in the business, retained in the business. So retaining what? Profit means the earnings of the concern. So that is known as retained earnings. It is an item shown in the liability side. You will learn about the concept of retained earnings in detail in your higher classes. Okay, out of that retained earnings, fully paid shares were offered to the company, offered to the existing shareholders or the working force of the company. So why the company is issuing bonus issue? We have discussed that in order to increase the morale, in order to make them happy, in order to increase the commitment of the commitment towards the concern. Likewise, there are certain reasons for the issue of bonus shares. At the time of bonus shares also, the thing is a creation of fractional shares occur at the time of bonus shares. For example, a person holds 23 shares in a company. So the company issues 1 share for every 3 shares held as a bonus issue. Usually it will be like that. Issue of bonus shares will be announced by the companies like that. Whoever holding such and such shares will be received such and such additional number of shares in the form of bonus. So here we have mentioned that a person holding 23 shares, and the company announces that the company intended to issue bonus shares on the condition that 1 share for every 3 shares held. So that particular person get how many shares in addition? He will get 7.66 shares as bonus shares. How did they got 7.66? It's very easy. 23 into what was the proportion of shares offered? 1 for every 3 shares held. So it will be 23 into 1 by 3. So you will get 7.66. So in addition, he will get 7.66 shares as bonus share. So now it is in the fraction form, 7.66. So see, that is the situation that led to the creation of bonus shares. So that there is an extra 0.66 in the form of fraction. So how the company is going to deal with? In that situation, the company may make the payment for the fraction portion, but if the concern or the particular shareholders is intending to resell the same in the other market or whoever else after the lock-in period, the considerable changes should be made. So that is with regard to bonus issue. Next one, reverse stock split. Reverse stock split is actually the opposite of stock split. That is a concept. Fractional shares arise in a reverse stock split where the number of shares is reduced in order to eliminate small stock holdings. Reduced. Earlier we have mentioned that 1000 shares were split into 10,000. In stock split, the thing happens is the number of shares increases, but the denomination also changes. That is why the full amount of capital doesn't change. In reverse stock split, the number of shares is reduced. For example, if it is the company issues 10,000 shares of 10 each, that is 1 lakh rupees. So if the company is planning to implement a reverse stock split, it will be like this: 10,000 is reduced to 1,000 of rupees 100. And that time also the face value will be 1 lakh rupees. So there will not be any change in the face value or value, total value of the capital. The only change happens in the case of number of shares and the denomination of shares. So in reverse stock split, it is actually the opposite of stock split. Here, the large number of shares is consolidated into small number of shares. Why the company is following this? In order to reduce the stock holdings, because the stock may be held by many number of persons. So in order to avoid the dilution of control of the concern within the large group, the company reduces the number of shares, because whoever holding shares, if the shares were equity shares, then that much amount of equity shares will be held by outsiders. That means the control of the company is split among such a large number of group. So in order to reduce that control, the number of shares are reduced. That activity is known as reverse stock split. Next one is merger. Merger means combination of two business units into one single unit is known as merger. You might have heard some of the examples of merger. This may result in creation of fractional shares because companies combine new stock or common stock using a predetermined ratio. For example, with an example you will get, if a person holds 8 shares in AB Limited, which is acquired by XY Limited, in which the shareholders of AB Limited gets 1 share for every 5 shares held in XY Limited. See, that is the situation that leads to the creation of fraction. Here, X is entitled to only 1.6 shares, resulting into a fraction of 0.6 shares, which can be settled in cash at an agreed price. That is the concept. Whenever there is a merger, the prospective shareholder of one company will get some additional shares from the new company, and that is with regard to any ratio, means certain number of shares held by a certain person will get such and such number of shares in addition. So in such situations also, the prospective shareholders will get fraction of shares. All these situations led to the creation of fraction. That is a concept. So at the time of merger also, the fraction of shares occur. You will learn about the concept of merger in detail in your post-graduation classes. Right now, just understand that merger means merging together. When 2 companies or 3 companies join together and form a one single company is known as merger. For example, earlier you might have heard the term Hero Honda company. Now it is only Hero. Earlier it is a Hero Honda company, means it is a merged company. Hero is an Indian company, Honda is a Japanese company. So Hero Honda is a merged company. And next one, mutual funds. You might have the term mutual funds. Mutual funds and dividend stock investment. Fraction of shares arises in a dividend reinvestment plan where the dividend declared to an investment is not sufficient to buy an additional shares. So in such a case, the shareholder is credited with a fractional shares until the additional dividend accumulated is sufficient to purchase an additional shares. We have mentioned that whenever there is a difficulty in issuing dividends to the prospective shareholders, that company or whoever issuing dividend will provide them additional shares with regard to dividends. So in such situations also fractional shares come, especially in case of mutual fund where dividend reinvestment plan occurs. So these are the situations in which the fractional shares occur. You just have an idea about the situations. You need not have to worry further about these situations, that is stock split or bonus issue, reverse stock split, merger, mutual funds, like that. There won't be any problems with regard to that, but have an idea about the situations in which fraction of shares occurs. Next one. Okay, next one, let us discuss a case with regard to that. With regard to that with regard to the methods which we have learned previously, now we have learned about the situations in which the fraction of shares occurs. A limited company who authorized capital is 2,50,000 of shares of rupees 10 each. Then each issued 16,000 equity shares of rupees 10 each, payable 2 on application, 4 on allotment, 4 on first and final call, and a shareholder having 600 shares failed to pay the call money. Pass the necessary journal entries and also prepare balance sheet. So this is the first time we are going to discuss about preparation of balance sheet. So in the question, the first one is authorized capital. Do we have to worry about the authorized capital? Yes, we have to worry about the authorized capital only at the time of preparation of balance sheet, because there is a procedure for preparing the capital side. We know that capital plus profit plus interest on capital minus drawings interest on, but no, nothing like that. That computation of capital is with regard to preparation of final accounts. In case of company accounts, the preparation of capital side of the balance sheet is somewhat different. We will discuss that by the end of this problem. Anyway, 2,50,000 was the authorized capital intended to raise, and a share of rupees 10 was there. So we can assume that the number of shares was authorized was 25,000 shares. Let us assume like that. See, rupees 2,50,000 of shares of rupees 10 each. Don't get confused and write down like 2,50,000 into 10. It is like that. The company's total share capital is 2,50,000. That is authorized share capital, and one share of rupees 10 each. So number of shares was 25,000. So that is the concept. These are simple mistakes that you are going to make or create in an exam, because usually the sentence is given like this, leads to a computation like 2,50,000 into 10, because here 2,50,000 shares is given, rupees 10 is given. Remember, here 2,50,000 is not the shares, it is the total value of that share. See, rupees 2,50,000 is given. If it was 2,50,000, okay, 2,50,000 into 10. Here it is rupees 2,50,000. So this is the total capital, authorized capital raised by the company, and one share of rupees 10 each. So the total number of shares was 25,000. It may not be directly given in the question. You have to understand from the sentence given in the question. And the thing is, you need not have to worry about these points, because none of these will not affect our computations or journal entries. Only thing with regard to rupees 2,50,000 is affected at the time of preparation of balance sheet, where authorized capital has to be shown separately. Okay, let us come back. So what was the number of issues offered to the public? 16,000 of rupees 10 each, where out of 10 is split into 2 on application, 4 on allotment, 4 on first and final call. So 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 4, 10. So total cap amount is accrued. There is no premium or discount situations. The issue was made at par. So, and a shareholding 600 shares failed to pay call money. This situation will come at the time of call money, so we need not have to worry about that. So let us prepare the account. We know the format of journal entry. It begins with date, particulars, ledger folio, debit and credit. If the date is mentioned in the question, you can write, otherwise don't worry about it. Let it be blank. First one, application. At the beginning, the company receives the application in the form of subscription fees. So let us write down the journal entry. Bank account debtor to equity share application. How much was the amount? Application is 2. Number of shares was 16,000. So 16,000 into 2, you will get 32,000. Don't forget to pass the necessary narration, being application money received on 16,000 shares of rupees 2 each. So first entry is passed. Next one, the same has to be transferred to the respective capital account. So equity share application account up to equity share capital, same amount 16,000 into 2. There are no adjustment with regard to application. The amount will be the same. So pass the narration, being application money transferred to the equity share capital account. Next one, equity share allotment account up to equity share capital. So we have passed the 2 entries with regard to application. Next one, allotment. First you need to pass the necessary journal entry with regard to due entry. So first one, equity share allotment account up to equity share capital. The value of allotment is 4 per share. So 4 into number of shares is 16,000. So 4 into 16,000, you will get 64,000. So total amount collected with regard to allotment is 64,000. Next, don't forget to pass the narration. After that, next you need to write down the payment entry. Bank account debtor to equity share allotment, same amount since there are no adjustment with regard to allotment. So being allotment money received on 16,000 shares at rupees 4 per share. So we have completed or written all the entries with regard to application allotment. Next is the call, first and final call. But the thing is that there is an adjustment with regard to the first and final call. A shareholder having 600 shares failed to pay the call money. So pass necessary. So with regard to call money, first of all, let us write down the due entry. Equity share first and final call account up to equity share capital 4 of rupees 16,000, 64,000. The amounts remains the same. The calls in arrears is adjusted. That is, here the shareholder failed to pay the call money. That means calls in arrears. It has to be adjusted at the time of bank entry. So the entry will be bank account up to equity share first and final call. So how we are going to find the amount of first and final call after adjusting the calls in arrears? Here the default in payment of 600 shares was made. On which call? First and final call. So what is the value of first and final call? First and final call is 600. So 600 into value of first and final call is 4. So you will get 2,400. That is one way. So if you deduct the 2,400 then from 64,000, you will get the value of equity share first call, that is 61,600. And another method is, here out of 16,600 was the default. So remaining shares for which the payment will be obtained is 15,400. So 15,400 will be the shares for which the payment will be obtained. And value of call is rupees 4. So 15,400 into 4, you will get 61,600. So entry will be 61,600. It can be computed in another method which I have mentioned right now. The value of shares was 600. So call money is 4. So total of 600 into 4, 2,400 was the default in payment. That was the amount of calls in arrears. So how much amount will be received after reducing the calls in arrears? So 64,000 minus 2,400, you can easily get 61,600. You can follow any method. I have mentioned at the beginning of this module, you can identify the amount with regard to the shares or you can compute with regard to the amount. You can do it from any pattern. That's up to your discretion. And finally, you have to pass the Colson arrears entry, that is Colson arrears account up to equity share first and final call. Colson arrears is a loss, we can assume like that, so it has to be debited. Colson arrears account up to equity share first and final call. Amount is default in payment was 600 shares of rupees 4, because it was made, default was made at the time of first and final call. So 600 into 4, you will get 2400. So 2004. Here the thing is, in this situation, this two entries was written separately. Actually, you can write these entries as a single entry. It will be like this: bank account after Colson arrears account after to equity share first and final call. I will show like that. So the entry will be like this. See, bank account after 61,600, Colson arrears 2,400 to equity share first and final. You can write this entry as a combined entry like this, or otherwise you can write down like this. Anyway, you can write down the necessary journal entries. There is no discretion regarding which has to be written like that. It's all up to your discretion. So this is one way of presenting the same two entries. So we have written down all the entries with regard to the issue of share. Next, you need to prepare the balance sheet. So preparation of balance sheet, it is quite a tricky aspect, because you have to show all the different phases of capital in the single balance sheet. We have learned about authorized capital, we have learned about subscribed capital, issued capital, called up capital, paid up capital. You have to show all these capital in the balance sheet. So in order to show all these in the balance sheet, you have to find out the values of capital, the fully paid up capital also, on and capital that is shown after adjusting Colson arrears or Colson advance, anything like that. So first of all, first one, let us compute all these capital. First one is share capital. We will begin with authorized capital. It is mentioned that 2,50,000, so we write down 2,50,000. Next one, out of 2,50,000, we issued to the public was 1,60,000, that is 60,000 equity shares of 10 each. So we issued 16,000 of 10 each, 1,60,000. Out of 60,000, the subscribed capital. Subscribed capital means how many shares that were subscribed by the public. And usually the subscribed capital we will mention like this: subscribed and fully paid up. So how much was the subscribed and how much was the paid? So 1,60,000 worth of shares were issued, and out of 1,60,000, does the company collected all the amount? No, there was a default in payment of 600. So the same has to be adjusted in the next one. Subscribed capital, under that you will usually write down subscribed and fully paid up. And in the theory we have learned about subscribed, called up and paid up. Since there are no specific or special adjustments with regard to that, and in the question there is no mentioning about the subscribed capital or called up capital like that. Paid up capital is there, it will be shown in all the question because payment will be there in the question. So with regard to subscribe and called up, usually the thing is, if there is information regarding subscribed and called up, that will be shown separately. If not, you will write the subscribed and paid up as a single one, single head, since there are no additional information regarding subscribed and called up. So we will write down subscribed and fully paid up is 1,54,000. So how did we got 1,54,000? Here it is written 15,400. 15,400 means issued was 16,000. But there was a default in payment of 600. So the remaining shares for which the payment is going to receive is 15,400. That is 16,000 minus 600. You will get 15,400. 15,400 shares of value will be received from public. So 15,400 into total value of shares was rupees 10. So 15,400 into 10, 1,54,000. And next one, out of 1,54,000, we have mentioned that 600 shares were failed to be met by the prospective shareholder. So the computation with regard to that will be shown in another way. You might find it confusing, but understand it. Let us discuss that. The subscribed but not fully paid up was 600 equity shares of 10 each. Subscribed but not fully paid means shares issued, it was subscribed, but there was a default in payment. That area has to be shown separately. We have already shown subscribed and fully paid up. Subscribed and fully paid up means how many shares were paid without any default. That is 15,400 shares, because remaining 600 was a default. See, out of 600 it will be written like this: subscribed, it was subscribed but not fully paid. Not fully paid means, that is the concept you have to understand. 600 shares of a certain person failed to pay. Does he fail to pay all the money? No. A shareholder holding 600 share failed to pay the call money only. So call money was the default. He had paid the amount of application allotment but failed to pay final call. So it has to be shown in a certain format like this. See, subscribed and not fully paid. Not fully paid, a portion of the installment was paid. So out of these installments, application allotment was paid by this shareholder, but he failed to pay the first and final call. So how many shares were held by him? 600 shares of rupees 10, that is shares of rupees 6,000 was held by this particular shareholder. So 6,000 was the subscribed capital. Does he paid all the amount of subscription? No. He failed a default in payment with regard to 600 shares of final call worth rupees for or final call. He was failed to be met by the shareholders. So out of 6,000 he failed to pay call money. So call money was 600 into 4, that is 2,400. So less call scenario, 6,000 minus 2,400, you will get 3,600. 3,600 was the payment made by this particular shareholder with regard to application and allotment. So you have to show those computations separately in the balance sheet, because balance sheet is a prescribed statement that consisting or that explaining all the aspects with regard to each individual items shown in the balance sheet. So it has to be shown separately. We have learned about what was the amount received, what was the call scenarios, all these aspects, but in the balance sheet you have to explain each individual item. See, in the preparation of journal entry, we didn't even think about the amount that was paid by the particular shareholder, because actually the 600 shares held by the shareholder already paid application allotment, and this 3,600, that was the amount paid by that particular shareholder, is there in these amount. We didn't think about that, because in the preparation journal entry we need not have to worry about the amount paid. We have to worry about the default in the payments has to be considered. So in the balance sheet, subscribed and fully paid up is 15,400, because there was no default in payment, so it is a fully paid. 15,400 into 10, 1,54,000. Next AD, subscribed but not fully paid. A shareholder holding 600 subscribed all the shares, that is 600 shares were subscribed by him. So subscribe. Does he paid all the installments? No, he paid only application allotment. So that is why it is written subscribed but not fully paid. So 600 shares of 10 each, 6,000 was the subscribed amount, out of which he failed to pay call money. So 600 into 4, 2,400. So this was the amount actually paid by this particular shareholder. So total capital is 1,57,600. See, See, here the computation is in another form. It is quite easy. Total amount of capital planned was the same amount only. We can find it easily. 16,000 into 10, that is 1,60,000. So 1,60,000 was the total capital that has to be collected. If you deduct the amount of calls and arrears is given in the question 2,400. You will get 1,57,600. See, instead of doing all these adjustments, you can easily find this amount. But the thing is, for the preparation of balance sheet, you need to write down each individual aspects. I hope you have understand the concept. Next, let us prepare the balance sheet. Right now we have done the computations only. You need to prepare balance sheet. And one more thing, we have successfully completed 1,57,600. That is the amount of capital that is received by the concerned company. How this capital was received? It was received in the form of cash. See, there are bank entries with regard to each of these payments. So whenever we raise capital of the company, or whenever we issue capital or shares, the capital of the company increases. But at the same time, one thing also increases. What is that? The bank amount or the cash amount. So whenever there is an increase in capital, correspondingly there is an increase in cash also. So cash or cash equivalents or bank, we can write the same amount, 1,57,600. Don't forget to write down like that, because in the balance sheet it has to be shown like that. Whatever was the amount raised by the company, it will be shown in the automatically, or automatically it will come in the particular cash book or bank book. So that is how 1,57,600 is shown here. Next, let us prepare the balance sheet. First one, usually company will follow a vertical balance sheet, where first set of items will be liability items, after that asset items. So equity and liabilities is the main heading. First one, shareholders fund, share capital, 1,57,600. Since there are no further items with regard to liability, we can directly go to the next heading, that is assets. First one, current assets. Each item is belonging to various heads, so we have to write down the heads. So under current assets, you will show cash and cash equivalents, or we can say bank, that is 1,57,600. So this is how you have to prepare the balance sheet of a company. See, both the sides will tally. So these are the aspects with regard to preparation of journal entries, computations, and preparation of balance sheet. I hope you have understood the concept. Go through it. If you have any queries with regard to any of the adjustments or working notes which we have discussed, please let me know. We will continue about the concepts and additional adjustments in the coming sessions.